income tax authority is the responsible authority for collecting the tax revenues. At the same time, the other authorities of the government are ensuring or are utilizing the revenues collected by the NBR. So other departments of the government are spending this money. So when the other departments are spending the tax money of the people, they need to make sure the transparency and the accountability with this use of this money. So one of the common valid reason people always raise that why we do not like to pay taxes, because we see that our tax money is used uh, indiscriminately without any accountability, without any transparency, and there has been a good amount of corruption involved and misuse of the taxpayers' money. So that is one of the true and also one of the valid reasons why most of the people are not uh, interested by themselves to for paying taxes. But if you ask people from the uh, what should I say, from the countries which are mostly European countries, and also some countries who follow the socialism, and there the tax burden is much more significant to the people who have the capability. But if you ask them whether you feel happy when you pay taxes, they will say, they will commonly express that they are not unhappy. They are happy because they feel that their tax money is used in a good way, and they get the benefit of payment of taxes, and they feel it justified that they are paying taxes. It is not their burden. They feel that it is their responsibility. So obviously we are trying to increase our transparency and accountability over time. But what I feel from a personal level, it is not sufficient enough to convince mass people for paying taxes. So from the policy makers perspective, we need to make sure the proper use of the tax money. So many of you will be part of the policymakers. Many of you will be the policymakers part of the government in the mid of your career, mid of your age. I mean, after 25 or after 30. So wherever you will be there, you will feel from both perspective, from taxpayer perspective, also from the government perspective regarding your responsibility. So that is the observation related to the first comment. The second comment, that is the complications of the tax ordinance and the tax rules. And you feel that the complexities are high enough to discourage people for not paying taxes or not to submit their income tax return, these things, they feel reluctant to execute their responsibilities. The observation related to your second opinion is that what is my view, that in general across the countries in the world, the people always recognize that tax law is often complicated. Tax law is often has some loopholes. Tax laws has often have some uh, complications, or there are some definitions, there are some concepts which need much more clear description. So it is in general practice, but matter is that across the country, the countries are trying to make their tax laws flexible, make their tax laws as easier to understand, easier to interpretable as possible. And Bangladesh is not exception from that. Bangladesh is also trying to liberalize its tax rules. And if you follow the news regularly, you will see that uh, from the from the historical perspective, I mean, if you compare the current situation with the situation 10 years back or 20 years back, you will feel that our tax rules has become much more flexible compared to earlier days. But the thing is that you have to recognize that there is a positive correlation between the tax professional's income and the complications of the tax law. So as long as there are complications, there are areas of misunderstanding, you will be more likely to visit the tax professionals and the tax authorities people. So they do not feel it good that people will find it very easy to do it themselves, and they will not uh, put much importance on these people who are the part of the authority or who are the part of the tax professionals. So there are some uh, I mean, there is a conflict of interest that the authority which is responsible for liberalizing the tax rules sometimes feel that they will lose their importance to the taxpayers if they make it very easy. So it is not easier, or it is complicated, and there are so many arguments, or there are some advantages also with relation to these complications, because from these complications tax authority, both the people who work in tax authority who do not have the honest motive, and at the same time the taxpayers who do not have the honest motive, they try to take advantage of these complications. So that is one of the reasons why we are still undergoing some complicated tax rules, and why we are not making it very easier, or why we are slow in making it very easily understandable to the people. So let me give you just an example. If you already have seen the income tax return that has different parts attached to it, you have to fill a cover page, which is of 4 pages, and then you have to attach several documents which support your income from different sources and income from different headings. And you also need to attach the several documents in support of the disclosure you are providing. So from this year, the income tax authority has decided to take the income tax return in 1 page. So still it has not been implemented, but the tax authority has declared that income tax return will be in a simple 1 page. So you can recognize that the authority is trying to make it simple, and that the authority is trying to make it more accessible, more easily understandable to the people. Okay. So that is my views regarding your opinions. And then the issue is, before beginning today's session, we like to add the regarding the term paper task. You already have been assigned to different random groups. I think you have been able to recognize your group number, and you also have been able to recognize your group members that with whom you will be working. Is it true that you have got your group members and you know with whom you will be working?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay. So some of you will feel that my group members will be good to work with, or some of you will feel not good, that it will the group members are not as expected by me. So whatever it is, the practical learning that whenever I already have mentioned in previous classes that in real life you will be assigned to random group by your supervisor, by your boss. So you must be prepared to accept other group members warmly, regardless of their attitude. And you have to play the driving role to take the lead and also get the work done. So this is an ideal characteristic of a manager. So you need to practice it from your academic life by doing in group work. Group work is not like a kind of uh, someone has probably uh, done the analysis task. Someone has provided the laptop. Someone has taken the copies in pen drive and go to Nilkhet for taking printout, and someone has taken the responsibility of binding. Then after making submission and presentation, you have allocated the expenditure you incurred in total process, and you feel that you have done a very good group work. That is not true. That is not a group work. That is individual works, but you work together. Okay. So in each group task, you individuals or we individuals need to attach to each and every responsibility together, and we have to make ourselves accountable for each and every line, each and every analysis we do in group task. So sometimes when we ask in presentation that who has written this, or why you have written in this way, why you have not done, or why you have committed this kind of mistake. So group members do not take the responsibility as a whole. Rather, they try to specify a person who wrote this or who told this in this way. So it is not a part of, uh, it is not the attitude of group members. So you will try to practice the group task, and you also can get some tips that how can you make your group effective from the web resources, and also you can explore your learning from the business communication. So I feel that you will have a very good group work in this, not only in this course, but also in other courses. Okay. So let me remind you the task, what I assigned to you. The first part of the task is you have to write a plain story. So though I'm mentioning the story, the thing is that I want to see a case written by you. So what is the case? The case is that the case of an SSC. So what the case will contain? The case will contain the income particulars and the asset particulars and the profile particulars in light of the income tax. So what will be your task? Your task will be you three members will sit together in online, and you will arrange meeting. You will propose that you have these persons, 2 or 3 persons who are in your family and who have this good income particulars and asset particulars, and it is very accessible to know about these particulars from him. And 3 members will share their uh, family members profile with the group members. And after exploring this profile, you will try to find out that who will be the best based on the profile. Best in terms of not that the person is a kind of the person is in a very superior position in the government, that's why the person is best for doing your work. It is not like that. Best in terms of that the person, if you get access of the income and asset particulars of this person, you will have a plenty of information. In that sense, the person is best, or the SSC you will be selecting will be the best. Okay. So when you are finalized with, you have finalized your SSC, then you have to share the story that uh, before sharing the story, you have to meet with the person and ask some particulars regarding the income and asset. So what can you do for getting an idea? You can look at your textbook, and you will see different profiles. problems, different problems which are describing some person's income particulars, some person asset particulars. So you will try to, for example, if you try to know the income from salary, you have to jot down the questions you will try to ask from that person. And after getting the responses from that person, you have to write the information not in a bullet point way. Rather, you have to write down the information in a way which looks like a story, which looks like a case study. And you may have to provide some background information for each of the information you are providing. And you may also try to add something based on your conversation, which will be a source of uh, which will be a source of what should I say, which will be a source of inspiration to the reader, that reader will feel it interested to continue reading your story. So you have to develop this kind of a story in this way. In the first part, what I'm trying to get it by get it completed by the February 1st. That is that you will develop this part. I mean, you what can you do, as we have learned the income from salary and income from interest on securities. I will try to see these two things common in your story, but there is no restriction that you will not collect the other information. If you see that the person has income from house property, please do read the chapter income from house property from your text, and also get the information from your SSC regarding the income from house property. And you will see the structures are very similar, that you have to write down the story, and you have to construct the story in this way that your paragraphs are interconnected. So your paragraphs of the story are not separated. So that is also dependent on your writing skill. So you have to write it in this way that you are concluding in a paragraph, and that is giving some indication that what you will say in the next or following paragraph. So in this way you will continue. Right now I'm not giving any constraint in terms of page number, but what I will try to see that your story is not more than 1,000 words limit. It's not more than 1,000 word limits. I'm not saying that you have to fill the 1,000 words. You have not, it is not necessary that you have to fill the 1,000 words. If it is like that your information are adequate enough to fill the 1,000 words, that is good. But it should not be too short. It should not be too long. Okay. So that is all about your term paper task. Let me begin the today's session. And if you have any question related to your term paper, let me take your question after finishing today's session. Okay. Right now we have 59 participants. Famid Islam Shadin, thank you. You have got it.